Hey, everybody. Yeah. Welcome to the PHLY Flyers Postgame Show presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. I'm Bill Matz. That's Steve Jaco.
We're doing great, folks.
That is all the time we have for you.
Good night and good hockey.
We contractually need to do 60 minutes of a postgame show. The Flyers would have been served to maybe play 60 minutes of a game tonight. That was...
What a concept, Bill. What a concept to play 60 minutes of a game. There was a point in this game where we're like, this is a pretty good game. You know, I think it's going to go down to the wire. I think it's going to be a tight ending. And then it fell apart. The wheels just disintegrated.
It's funny. We've seen them so often. You know, I heard on I can't remember what show, but the Flyers have erased the most third period deficits in the league this year. And it's like, well, that's good, but also maybe don't play such bad second periods. And tonight they outshoot LA 15-8 in the second. They're outscoring them until the final, 45 seconds of the period. They score 2 goals to LA's 1. They're up 3-2. Wow, a great second period, really strong against a, if not cup contending, next tier down team in LA. You played the night before. They've been waiting here for you. And then the third period happens. But really it starts with that Tanner Jeannot goal with, that was the first Kopitar goal with, 44 seconds remaining in the second period to tie it up at 3. And LA never looks back. They score a minute 54 into the third. They get 3 more in the third period. An empty netter in there. The Kolosov comes back in. They add another one just to have a little FU. Disappointing third period for a team that through 40 minutes looked strong. Obviously, Kolosov, some big saves, some plays he really, really want back. But
I was feeling great about Kolosov until that Kopitar goal. The Kopitar goal, and that's rookie stuff right there. That is 100% rookie stuff where he's got to get his glove down on that puck quicker. Like, you have to cover that up. You have to freeze that puck as soon as possible. And he didn't do it. And Kopitar is a savvy vet. He's, 37, right? 19 years in the league or something?
19th year in the league, 1,400 games.
The guy knows how to make plays.
He took advantage of a goalie who made a massive mistake playing the puck.
And granted, it's only 3-3 at that point.
Yeah, that's 3-3.
3-3 against a very good hockey team. Going into the third period, this should be a competitive game down to the wire. And it just, I don't know what the heck happened, man. But I just remember at a certain point in the third period, I went to the bathroom. And I came back out, and it said 7 goals for the Kings. And I was like, Bill, what happened? I wasn't gone that long.
Steve goes like, did I miss anything? I'm like, oh, yeah, they got another one. I'm like, oh, no, actually, they got an empty netter. And then they got another one with Kolosov back in the net. It was just
terrific.
It was a bleep show. And I want to start with Kolosov because I thought the defense didn't play great in front of him.
No.
This was a real mixed bag. I thought some of this is, oh, man, you just got to be stronger in front of him. And some of it is like, bro, how do you not stop that? Goal by goal, at least like the first 5, because after that, who cares?
Who cares? Yeah.
First goal, Sanheim keeps the puck at the line, tries to play it back, gets knocked down. Drysdale doesn't vacate his point. He stays back on the weak side rather than bailing and trying to cover the center. That sends Fiala on a breakaway. All right, what are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
You'd like to get a save, but don't give up a breakaway on what should have been at least like a 2-on-2. You gave up a 1-on-0 on what should have been at least a 2-on-1, if not a 2-on-2. All right.
That pairing had a rough night.
Second goal, you're just not strong enough defending in front. And it's a loose puck that it looked like Kolosov could have jumped on. As we'll see later, that was a problem tonight. I'll blame everyone. Like, you have to actually defend a guy. And it's not enough to just stand there. You have to actually negate his stick or physically stop him from getting to the loose puck. And Kolosov, I don't know, man. You're on top of it. Be on top of it.
Yeah,
that was tough.
I think he's got some aggression issues where he's got to be more aggressive with some of that play. I'm thinking specifically of the break, or not quite breakaway, but almost breakaway, where he kind of sits back and lets a move get made around him. Whereas like, I'm thinking back in like 1987, Ron Hextall's like torpedoing
I'm going to hurt this guy. If he's going to score, he's leaving the game.
I mean, I think even 1997, Ron Hextall's doing that. And
Bald spot Hextall still taking his shots.
You don't have to torpedo a guy, but you do have to
take away his options.
Right. You can't be that far out of the net and not do anything.
Yes.
If you're going to sit back in the net and not do anything and try to just like cover as much area as possible, I'm fine with that. But if you're going to move that far out and freeze like a deer in the headlights, like that's not good.
The third goal is the really egregious one. My note on it is just WTF happened on that third goal. He lunges for a loose puck, somehow just misses it. I don't know. Depth perception off, whatever. Covered the shadow of the puck instead of the puck. I don't know what the hell happened.
You see ice is frozen water, and water typically distorts the view of something you're trying to grab. So clearly that's what happened. That's just science.
Really, really rough misplay, and that's how Kopitar ties the game to end the second period.
And he looked like a rookie tonight. Like he truly looked like a rookie goaltender tonight in a way that he didn't look in the Detroit game. It almost makes you wonder, Bill, if maybe they should have played him against Detroit again.
You know, when I was putting the pregame outline together, and I probably, like, if I want to bring this up, I should have brought it up last night. All right, back-to-backs. We're going to get 1-1 of the goalies. Kolosov played the best game of his career last time out against Detroit. Now, is that how you make every decision? No, but it's how I'd make a decision with a rookie goaltender, maybe. Just maybe. Put him in there and give, against the considerably better team, Sam Ersson, maybe give him that one. I don't know. It's all hindsight now, but like,
it makes you think.
Maybe think about it. Yeah. The fourth goal, Paling deflects a centering pass into his own net. That's rough. And that's kind of like encapsulates the whole game. A mixture of they're just better than you. And when that's the case, you can't make these dumb little mistakes. Whether it's the goalie, whether it's Jamie Drysdale, whether it's Emil Andrae, where, I mean, they have, on the fifth goal, about 4 chances to kill the play before Turcotte gets it over to Kopitar, unmarked for his second of the game on the far post. Like, all right, what are you going to do about that one? Maybe kill the play on one of the 9 times the puck was in limbo before he's able to make that pass across the ice. Rough. Just a rough game for a team that looked really good through 38 and a half minutes.
If you listen solely to PK Subban through the first 2 periods, you would have thought the Flyers were dominating that game. You would have thought they should have been up 20-0.
It was
Subban was praising them, praising Tortsy, and look, they played a solid game, especially against a superior opponent. Make no doubt about it. LA is a good team and should have beaten the Flyers, but the Flyers played a good game against them, and there's a reason they were up going into the end of the period, and they missed opportunities. There was that one puck that went along the goal line.
And they get, and that's one of those differences. You see the final score, all right, it's 1, but they add an empty netter, and the third period unravels. It's a different game if they don't get the one that barely crosses the line, and the Flyers do. But again, that's why you can't. We talked about it pregame. The Flyers don't beat you with skill. They have to outplay you considerably and get some saves because other teams typically have a lot more skill. They don't need 19 opportunities to score twice. The Flyers do. And that's kind of just what we saw tonight. A team not good enough if they're not playing their A game.
Yeah, they're the not quite ready for primetime players. That's what these Flyers are. And if you think about the skill guys on this team, right? Obviously, you have Travis Konechny. Obviously, you have Matvei Michkov. I throw Owen Tippett into the mix there. And then it's kind of rough after that. There's guys with skill, but those are your upper tier guys, essentially, at least offensively speaking. Sean Couturier's got skills, but at this point in his career, he's not quite the offensive guy that he was for, 2-3 years?
Yeah.
You really do not have a ton of elite skill. I will give a shout out to Tyson Foerster, who had quite a night, though. Tyson Foerster, I would like to see more of that from him. So please continue on this hot streak right now.
Yeah, and that's really what this game came down to. You see that line, the Cates, Brink, Foerster line. Cates has a goal. Brink has an assist. Foerster, 2 goals and an assist for a second career 3-point night. And then you see Lawton with an assist. You see the bottom 6 comes through for you offensively. And then you see the top 6. Okay, Frost with an assist, Tippett with an assist, TK, no points. Couturier, no points. Michkov, -4, no points. Farabee, no points. You're not going to beat a good team with your top 6 not showing up, and it's just a waste. It feels like a waste of a good game from your bottom 6 when the guys who get paid to score can't. It's a disappointing final 20 minutes.
It is a disappointing final 20. You want to see the top 6 really
21 and a half minutes, really.
Whatever.
Yeah.
The last third of the game, just was bad.
Yeah.
And you want to see those top 6 guys step up to the plate there. And again, that's the thing. This is a young team. This is a team with, as we said, not a ton of elite skill towards the top. And you're going to have a lot of nights like this, unfortunately, until they can start putting more guys in there, until they finally get some centers in the lineup. Because let's be honest, it's Sean Couturier and like a bunch of guys. Like, I like Ryan Poehling. Sometimes I like Morgan Frost, not most of the time, but sometimes. And they just don't have centers until Chet Luchenko is ready, which hopefully is next year, but who knows because he's young. Like, there's
Hopefully
just not
April.
a lot. Yeah, right? Like, I'm down for that at this point. I know John Tortorella's down for that too. But they need guys in the middle, and this is a night where you really see all the problems with the Philadelphia Flyers as they currently are.
And a pretty freaking rough night for what was essentially the top defensive pair. We'll talk about Emil Andrae's up and down game in a bit. But you see Travis Sanheim, no points, -4, 1 shot on goal. Jamie Drysdale, no points, -3, 0 shots on goal. They need to drive offense from that back line, those two especially. Drysdale, we're developing him. I know it's going to be a long process, but like, we counted on you for almost 23 minutes tonight, and you got wrecked. Those two got wrecked tonight.
I see so many things from Drysdale as far as like his skills that make me excited for him, but none of it translates into offense, and that's super frustrating because say what you will about Shane Gostisbehere's overall game, right? When Shane Gostisbehere first came up, what an awesome offensive player he was. He just set the world on fire with the go shimmy and that big slap shot and everything. And Drysdale, like, he doesn't score points. And the one thing he's supposed to be good at is offense. So it's like, I want to defend the guy. I want to be like, hey, Jamie Drysdale's good. He's worth pursuing as far as being like a prospect for this team. But it's really hard when he doesn't even put up points.
And that's I am choosing because I'm going to drive myself nuts. And you make a great, like, at this point, Drysdale's ceiling might still be live up to top 6 pick. Who the hell knows? But right now, it's like, yo, if we turn him into Shane Gostisbehere, that's a win. Like, from what we're seeing right now, a dude who, foolishly they had to pay to get rid of. But
I take Eric Gustafson at this point. Not that Eric Gustafson, but that Eric Gustafson.
Every team since then has been like, oh, that was dumb. But like, Drysdale, you can live with some of the mistakes if he creates for you as well. And he's just not creating. Now, I am looking at him the way I'm looking at Kolosov is we're going to see flashes of the tools, but his just overall game ain't there, and we're developing him in the NHL, which is not ideal. The Flyers will tell you. I mean, when we sat down with Keith Jones shortly after the trade last season, he was like, yeah, we think he went to the NHL too early and probably needed some time in the AHL. Like, there's the pandemic, there's no season, he's in with the team, he spends like a cup of coffee with their AHL affiliate, he's up with Anaheim, and they're just like, we're going to let you play. And they don't think he's anywhere near close. And you see the tools. But I see a guy with that sort of skill. I see a guy with that sort of speed. Man, you should be a one-man breakout. If nothing else, you should be driving play to a point where you can at least get to a loose puck, get it out of your zone, and dump and change. If nothing freaking else, you should be able to skate pucks out of your zone. And I'm just not seeing quite enough out of him yet. But I am choosing to look at him the same way as Kolosov, where it's going to be, it's not an ideal situation. He just ain't ready for this yet. And sometimes we're going to have nights where he has, yeah, man, you didn't defend a guy in front. Yeah, you're -3 in a game we lost by 3. Like, 4 eventually. But yeah, that's what I think he is.
The entire team's a work in progress.
Yes.
And we do have to acknowledge that it's difficult on nights like this where they should have won the game, frankly.
They played well enough through 40 minutes to at least not event, like, you see 7-4.
Yeah.
They got blown out.
Maybe not win, but like it should have gone down.
Get
to
a
the wire.
point. Like, you know, it's 3-3 after 2.
Right. The fact that they didn't get any points in the third period, they didn't do anything. So just briefly going back to Drysdale too, I think one of the most glaring things you can say about tonight is the fact that Travis Sanheim is having a very, very good season, maybe his best in the NHL, had one of his worst nights when he had Jamie Drysdale partnered
and
with
that's
him.
we have seen Sanheim with other partners. Yes, Rasmus Ristolainen.
Almost everybody else except for maybe Nick Seeler and Zamula.
Yes. Rasmus Ristolainen has come a long way since that fateful day they traded for him.
You've come a long way, baby.
But he was getting consistently during the Cam York injury, 20 minutes a night alongside Sanheim, and did not look out of place at all.
Didn't miss a beat, actually. I thought they were good together.
Sanheim made Team Canada on the strength of his play when Risto was his partner. And I don't think anyone looking here is like, oh, Risto carried that pair. Like, ain't nobody of that, no person is, like, Rasmus Ristolainen's family doesn't think that that's true, you know? And then you see him out there with Drysdale, and maybe they're not a stylistic fit. Like, we're talking about the things we want to see Drysdale do. And it's like, well, the coach has already told Sanheim, you're not even a defenseman, you're a rover. You know, you don't even really have a position, bro. You have to skate up and down the ice. Maybe they're not a stylistic fit, and it's just kind of, all right, let's see what he can do at the top. And if it's a night like tonight, well, it's a learning experience. But when you see him have maybe his worst game of the season, I don't want to blame him.
I don't want to blame him.
And he could have made some other plays. Like, he's one of the guys in front of the net. It's like, yo, defend somebody.
Oh, sure.
On the goal that Kolosov probably could have covered, the first one. Yeah, Sanheim, defend somebody. But I'm going to cut him slack and go, he's been good all year, and now he played with Drysdale, and they stunk.
Right. Like, it seems like there's a cause and effect there, but who's to say? And Sanheim, third leading scorer on this team. He's got 20 points, 6 goals, 14 assists. Like, he's obviously had positive offensive effects on this team. So, you know, something went bad tonight, and he's not putting up more offense with the offensive defenseman.
I have a feeling we're going to be talking to Charlie kind of soon. I can't imagine Torts is going to be long-winded tonight. So let's get to some of the business we have to take care of, starting with Golden Nugget Jewelers. Listen, Flyers, they ain't ring hunting anytime soon. That's not a thing that they're going to be doing. But if you're hunting for a ring, if you're on that search for an engagement ring, you got to check out Golden Nugget Jewelers down at 8th and Chestnut in downtown Philly. Family-owned and operated business since 1987. And if you're getting engaged, they have the widest assortment of rings and wedding bands to fit any style. And every customer receives a final cleaning and written appraisal with every engagement ring purchase. And they're not just wedding jewelry. You can find watches, diamond necklaces, bracelets, earrings, so much more. Head down to Golden Nugget because you deserve an expert and the best price. Golden Nugget Jewelers, where Philly gets engaged. Head over to goldennuggetjewelers.com to learn more. And while we're here, listen, maybe a proposal is one of those things you just don't want to be sick for this holiday season. That's why you got to get yourself to Rite Aid. Yeah, it's a great time of year. Parties, getting engaged, all that fun stuff. You got to get yourself vaccinated. Pneumonia stinks, man. Nobody wants it. And now adults age 50 and older are eligible for the vaccine. It used to be 65. They've since the CDC lowered the age recommendation because millions of people get pneumonia every year. It's a respiratory illness. And this time of year is when the germs that cause respiratory disease spread more in the community. You don't want to be sick for the holidays. So you got to head over to your local Rite Aid because getting vaccinated is easy. Just walk into that local Rite Aid or schedule online at riteaid.com. And if you're unsure of what vaccines you may need, ask your pharmacist for a personal recommendation. Stop by your local Rite Aid today. Emil Andrae. They were pretty positive about his game tonight. I wonder, like, we're talking about this defensive rotation. It was Cam York who comes out tonight, not Zamula, to get Andrae back in. And York has not been good in the last couple of games, so it makes sense. I wonder if just that one play on the Kopitar's second goal where he just decided to defend nobody.
That's the old controller unplugged.
Just, I don't know if he went for a check or if he just severely underestimated the attacking player's speed. I don't know what the hell happened, but he got undressed on that play, and it's almost enough. Like, you can look at anyone has one bad play, but it's when it's that egregious, I wonder if Torch just goes back to the press box. You didn't learn enough. I hope not to.
I hope not, because I think he has been one of the better defensive players they've had this season. Now, then again, I didn't notice anything particularly egregious from Zamula tonight, so I don't know if you can necessarily blame him. Drysdale's really, I think, your most egregious guy of the night right there. If you have a doghouse player of the night, it's Jamie Drysdale.
Rough for him.
Knowing Tortorella, it wouldn't totally surprise me to see Emil Andrae right back out. I hope not, though, because I don't want him up here if he's not playing. You know?
Yeah, I think he's shown he's good enough to stay. But if Torts thinks it's a 50-50 thing, like, and I mean, he said this about other guys before. Like, he said it about Bobby Brink. I don't know if he's an every night player. He said it about Cam York a year ago. I don't know if he's an 82 game a year player. Like, don't know. If that's going to be the deal with Emil Andrae, playing reps, that's the most important thing. I hope that's not the case. I really hope that's not the way it goes with him, because I just like watching him. He's a fun player to watch.
I think he's one of the more fun players on defense easily. When he's been on with the power play, it's the best the power plays look this year.
Yeah.
And he also is spicy, right? Like, he gets in there, even though he's a scrappy little guy for who he is.
He took another hit tonight that made me just like, maybe he held the puck a little too long. Maybe they're going to start targeting. That's the thing is, he's going to take a lot of hits. He is a puck-carrying, puck-moving defenseman, and he's undersized. You have the puck on your stick, they're going to target you. He needs to learn to protect himself a little better. There's a couple times tonight, and one might have been a cross-check. He might have held the puck a little too long. He might have had a chance to get out of there, and that's one of the things. Honestly, I think the play will come. Like, I think what he does on the ice in terms of just playing hockey will eventually, he'll be a top 4 defenseman. But he has to stop getting crushed. Like, that is a thing for him. And I saw a couple of hits he took tonight that were just like, ooh. He's a thick guy. Like, he's like Mish. He's shorter, but it's not like he's skinny as a rail out there. Yeah. But you take enough hits, you're going to get killed. And I just hope that's not the case with him. But outside of that one egregious mistake, like, you just look at the numbers tonight, like Sanheim -4, Drysdale -3, Risto -1. The other 3 defensemen are even, at least. In a game they lose by 4.
They got that going for him, Bill.
At least, like, they didn't make too many egregious mistakes, these 3 of the bottom 4 defensemen tonight. So I'm hoping he stays in the lineup. I'm hoping we see Cam York back.
Well, he didn't get the lowest amount of time from a defenseman tonight. That would be Zamula. Zamula got 15:08.
And it was pretty even. I said before the game I expect Sanheim to play like 27, 28 minutes. He leads the way with 22:46. Drysdale right there, only 2 seconds fewer. And Zamula like 15. Emil almost 17. Like, a pretty even distribution of ice time, and makes sense. You give up 7 goals. Oh, we have to. When your top pair is the most egregious, offenders. Yeah. Well, what are you going to do? Lean on them? Not the case tonight.
Yeah, it's just a rough night. I would hope also we're seeing York back in the lineup. Like, again, you can't really fault Zamula for something, but I think he's clearly the weak link of all your options on defense right now. So I'd really like to see them come back strong in the next game. Have York back in, Zamula out. Like, let's put your best foot forward and see what they can do with full power.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that at all. Do want to celebrate a couple of guys who did have strong games tonight. Tyson Foerster, the first one, 2 goals and an assist. First multi-point game of the season. Second career 3-point game. He had 2 goals and an assist in that 7-6 game against Pittsburgh. I saw we have one super chat at least referring to Cal Peterson. That's the infamous Cal Peterson game that they lost 7-6.
I try to block that guy out of my mind whenever possible.
So Foerster, another slow start. Infamously, no goals in his first 15 last year. This year, another In his last 16 games, though, 6 goals, 11 points. That's basically what we need out of Tyson Foerster, especially right now. Now, we need him to do this consistently, especially as a first-round pick, a guy who we're told, like Columbus in the year check discussions, said, no, he's off the table. That's how they view Tyson Foerster. And we've heard those conversations before, going back to some of Charlie's convos with Brent Flair. Like, we think he was seriously underdrafted. We think he should have been, if not a top 10 pick, a top half of the first round guy. We got him later on in the first, but we think he has, if not star, first line potential. And for a lot of last season, you saw it. Good two-way, wins every battle, scored 20 goals in a rookie year, in which, again, didn't score for the first 15 games, still ends up with 20 goals. You see it. You see it. Now, I just need him to do it consistently.
I want more of it, Bill.
You need a lot more of it, but it's a positive sign that Tyson Foerster's going, and he does it against a team tonight, 2 goals, 3 points, a team that gives up nothing.
A team that gives up nothing. Like, the fact that they were doing that good is what makes it so frustrating that they couldn't close, because like they were taking it to the Kings. And yeah, I love what we saw from Foerster tonight. Like, I've wanted to see this. He was one of my favorite players from last season. Yeah. What he showed last season was just so valuable towards the building blocks of this team. We always talk about like the next good Flyers team, right? And like, I think Tyson Foerster has to be a key part of that, because you need guys like him in the top 6, not necessarily like an all-star, not necessarily a guy who's setting the world on fire, but a guy who can play great two-way play, a guy who can net you 20-plus goals consistently, great hockey sense. I love what Tyson Foerster brings to the table. I like what we've seen over the past few games. Let's keep it going, my guy. Let's keep that momentum going, baby.
Yeah, and it's great. He gets that assist on the turnaround shot last night that hits Cates in the legs, and Noah Cates also a pretty good game tonight. 1 point in his first 12 games. He only played one of the team's first 5. He was the odd man out with Jet Luchenko playing. He now has 3 goals and an assist in his last 5 games, 8 points in his last 17 games. He's never going to be a top 6 player.
No.
But if he's going to be a third-line player, if he's going to be here, he needs to drive some sort of offense. And since we've seen this line with him and Foerster and Brink together, they've been playing pretty damn well. I like this trio. I want to see them continue.
I'm into it big time. And Cates is one of those guys who, when he's playing his game properly, he can kind of be like a Couturier Jr., where he is a good two-way player, very responsible. And you need somebody, well, obviously Foerster can be, he's very capable of having good two-way play. Brink is a black hole of defense, okay? I like Bobby Brink, don't get me wrong, but the guy can't play defense. So you really need Cates and Foerster to play well on both those ends. But you also need those guys to drive into the offensive zone, because Foerster's very capable of scoring a goal. He's got that big shot. He's also a big body who can get in front of the net, which Brink's just a little guy, okay? Brink can drive play into there, but he's not the guy who's going to finish a goal out in the crease. Like, Foerster, a guy who can actually do that. So when you have those 3 guys combined, that can be a really good force, and I like that third line.
I want to ask you one more thing about Noah Cates, but first, I want to get this in, because the Flyers, one more home game before the holiday break, and then before they go on their Disney on Ice trip. And if you want to see it, you got to see it with Game Time. Game Time is the top secondary ticket marketplace on the entire internet. This is done according to a survey done by me. I believe I am the authority on this, and I'm a big fan of Game Time. One of the things I love about Game Time, it is the Game Time picks. Curation makes it easier to save on more sports, concerts, comedy, theater, whatever you want to see. Filters out the fluff, only the best seats, so you don't have to search and search through thousands of results. That's just one of the great features with Game Time. You still get the all-in pricing. Toggle that on, no surprise fees or anything. You get to the checkout, and all of a sudden your ticket price doubled. Doesn't happen at Game Time. You get the seat views, so there's no surprises where you're sitting either. The low price guarantee and the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code PHLY for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code PHLY for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time. And while we're here, why not tell you about Rothman Orthopedics? Because if you have aching joints, cramping hands, or your back is out of whack, Rothman's got you, because at Rothman Orthopedics, they practice specialized care and that's been their passion for over 50 years. Their mission, high quality, compassionate, and affordable care rooted in research leading to new treatments and better outcomes. And each Rothman doc is laser focused on their specialty. Hip, knee, spine, you name it, they have it for each body part right in your backyard, so you can get back to your specialty. If it's maybe going out there, mixing it up in men's league, you can get back there with Rothman Orthopedics, because Rothman specializes in you. Rothman Orthopedics, specializing in orthopedics and you. Visit rothmanortho.com/PHLY to learn more and make an appointment today. So we were talking about the power play, and my note here about the power play is just ugly.
It stinks.
I like what we're seeing combination-wise. Now, Foerster's a big part of it, but with Brink and Cates on that line as well. Bobby Brink is... we'll get to this after we talk to Charlie O'Connor.
We got all day to trash the power play.
We got plenty of time. Now joining us from the Wells Fargo Center is Philadelphia's #1 hockey beat writer, Charlie O'Connor. Chuck, that was quite a game out there tonight. Before we get started, your thoughts on the game, any standout comments from the post-game pressers?
Bill, I was happy to listen to you guys trash the power play. That would have been fine. I would have listened for a few minutes.
Listen.
Yeah,
exactly. In any case, I think my evaluation of this game, and in no way, shape, or form am I letting the Flyers skaters off the hook for what happened in the third period. But I really believe the turning point of this game is that goal that Kolosov allows at the end of the second. Because the Flyers played a great second period. They played really well. The Kings, I don't know if maybe people don't quite understand this. I certainly didn't communicate it on social media before the game. The LA Kings are a good team. They are not just are they playing well in the standings. Going into this game, they had the best 5-on-5 expected goals for percentage in the NHL. They were the best play driving team at 5-on-5 in the NHL thus far. Now, do I think they are actually the true talent best play driving 5-on-5 team? No, but that's what they've been through 30 or so games. So you're going up against a team that controls play at 5-on-5. That's their whole thing. And basically the entire second period, Flyers took it to them. The Flyers played as nearly as perfect of a second period as you can play against a team that loves to have the puck and attack the high danger areas and create quality chances. They played great. You're about to go in an intermission, up a goal, and then Kolosov reaches for a loose puck, completely whiffs on it, and they get an easy tap and goal as a result. You can't tell me that didn't deflate the team. None of the players are going to admit it. They're going to blame themselves for defensive breakdowns and whatever. John Tortorella, I thought it was notable that he straight up said, that's a real tough goal at the end of the second period. And I think everyone on some level knows that was the turning point of this game. But none of the players at least can say it, because no one wants to throw the goalie under the bus. And it's not like they played well in the third. They could have just shaken it off and played a better third period, and that's totally fair. But the Kings are a really good team. The Flyers played them tough, especially in the second period. And I just feel like after you give up that kind of goal at the end of the second, it shouldn't have, because the Flyers should be tougher mentally, but it just seemed like it broke them. And then once they give up the early goal in the third and then another goal, then it's over. Then they're cooked, because then it just goes back to letting the Kings do what they've done all year, which is control play, dominate down low, dominate the high danger areas, and create a ton of high danger chances. Like, that's what they did in the third. The Flyers needed to be on their game for that not to happen. They were. Then all that hard work ends up being for naught because of a weak goal, and suddenly it just seemed like it broke them. That was my view of this game more than anything.
Yeah, I think when you go goal by goal, it's like, okay, I blame the defense for this, I blame the goalie for this, I blame both for this, and then that one is just kind of a killer. Like, that one is an absolute freaking killer. So Kolosov, I did think he made some big saves in this game, but it's just those, man, you have to have it plays, and we've talked about that with this team all season. Other than that play, what did you think of Kolosov? And do you think we could see Ivan Fedotov back in consideration at some point?
Bill, I feel like you saying, how do I think Kolosov did other than that is kind of like the whole how
was the play?
Well, how was the play? Yeah, exactly. Like, that's exactly what it was, because that was the game. And yeah, He made some big saves in the first 2 periods before that play. Absolutely. That's one you need to have. It's the same. It's the goal that Ersson gave up last night was not nearly as bad, but it's a similar type of situation where Ersson gives up that goal to Patrick Kane after the Flyers tie. I don't care that it's Patrick Kane. He's a future Hall of Famer. You need that save. It's a stoppable shot. Your goalie needs to make that save, needs to keep it tied, needs to let the skaters still build off of the momentum they built for themselves. Same thing here. I don't care the other saves Kolosov made in this game. He needs to make that stop. He needs to let this team go into the third up a goal and having to be able to build on that the entire intermission. And he didn't. He didn't come through. And unlike the Ersson play, like that's a tough play. It's certainly a stoppable shot, but it's Patrick Kane coming down the wing with speed. Yeah, I can see it. This one was just a pure mistake by Kolosov. Like, yeah, it's Anze Kopitar, who's also probably going to be a Hall of Famer, but like it wasn't Anze Kopitar dangling his way through Aleksei Kolosov. This was a loose puck that Kolosov whiffed on, and then Kopitar has an easy goal. Like, yeah, I can't possibly separate the rest of Kolosov's game from that goal because that goal ultimately was the game.
Charlie, Michael Leighton did make 37 saves in that game 6. People forget.
They do forget.
I do want to look at some
I wonder
positives.
why they forget.
Yeah, I do want to look at some positives from tonight's game because, again, through 40 or, 38 and a half minutes, they were, I thought, the better team against a, if not cup contender, next tier down team at the very least. This Cates, Foerster, Brink line, man, they have really got something going right now. We're all big fans of Tyson Foerster. Noah Cates is still, what the hell are you really? Do you think right now those three guys, and Cates and Foerster specifically, is it sustainable or is this just a hot streak for them?
I don't know. I think, let me put it this way. I think the play driving is sustainable. Like, I believe that they can continue to carry play because Noah Cates' entire NHL career has been a play driver. Tyson Foerster thus far also has been a play driver. And Bobby Brink, at the very least, I don't think is a dramatic liability in that area. So do I think they can continue to control play? Yeah. And as a third line, that probably is enough to be a quality third line. Are they going to keep scoring? I don't know. Maybe. Tyson Foerster's shown us in stretches during his NHL career that he can score. Now, can he score consistently over an 82-game season? Hasn't proven that yet. Same thing with Bobby Brink. Bobby Brink's had hot streaks. Noah Cates has even had one season where he scored a lot of points. Now, granted, it was because they were giving him all the minutes in the world, but he did show that he can score at the NHL level if you give him opportunity. So it's plausible that they could keep scoring, but I'm much more confident they're going to continue to play strong two-way hockey and create chances than I am certain that the scoring is going to continue, because I just don't have enough confidence in any of these guys yet at the NHL level that they can do it consistently. That said, as a third line, it's fine. And it's the kind of third line where, like, I'd love to have a third line like this, that I'm confident is going to drive play, and when they get hot, they're going to chip in with goals. If you had two really good top six lines, it would be a real good third line. Unfortunately, the Flyers don't have two really good top six lines, so they need to lean on a line like this to score more than you probably should lean on a third line. But that's an overarching roster problem more than anything else. I'm happy with this third line. It's not going to last forever. Lines get broken up all the time. That's just what coaches do. That's what NHL teams do. So, like, don't get wedded to it. But I do think it's a trio that if you were theoretically to keep it together the rest of the season, it would finish with strong underlying metrics and they'd score their fair share of goals. I just don't know if I can say, like, no, I don't think Tyson Foerster is going to keep scoring 2 goals a game. It's a good third line. Is it good? Is it an elite third line that's going to keep doing this? I'm unconvinced.
Now, Charlie, talking on the other side about Matvei Michkov, he's not necessarily going through his strongest patch of play right now, let's say. Anything you think Torts might have up his sleeve as far as maybe getting Mish back on the scoring track?
I really hope he doesn't scratch him again.
I'm hoping that too. That's kind of what I was alluding to and saying. I just don't want to will it into existence.
Well, I don't think that's going to happen, but again, it's John Tortorella. You never know. I didn't think Michkov had a bad game last night. I thought he made plays. The same thing in Minnesota. I thought he made plays. He was passing well. He was moving well. I thought tonight he didn't look good. I thought this was a game where he did not make nearly as much of an impact as a player with his talent level should. And it's a game where you remember he's 20 years old. He's still developing. They have played a lot of games. Maybe he's a little tired. I'm not going to kill him for it, but this was not a strong game by Matvei Michkov. I think he was -4 in the game. Not that I care that much about plus minus, but I know people do. It wasn't a great game for Michkov.
I think I always look at plus minus in terms of outlier. Like, if you are so much better or so much worse than the guys on your roster. Like, if you're on a team that's -20 and you're -10, like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, but if it's a single game and you were -4, maybe none of them were your fault. You didn't do anything to stop it, though. Like,
you were in a bad position.
Like, It was just a rough game for him. He's going through a little bit of a rough patch. It is what it is. It's a little reminder that
he's 20 years old.
He's a freaking rookie. Charlie, I just want to ask you about a couple individual plays in this one. The first, LA's first goal. Sanheim, he keeps a puck at the line. It gets knocked down, and Drysdale maintains his point rather than retreating to center. I feel like that's kind of been a recurring problem for this team, whether it's a forward covering or the weak side defenseman. Do you see it the same way? Like, this is just a problem that happens for them a lot. They give up some odd man rushes that way.
Well, they play a risky style. And when you play the style they play, they're going to give up odd man rushes. Like, it's just going to happen. And John Tortorella has admitted that in the past. His basic response when you bring it up is, that's why we have goalies. You know, sometimes the goalie has to bail out the team when we play a risky style and we're going to give up some transition chances. On that particular play, I think they were both at fault. I think Sanheim's mistake on that play is he just needs to find a way to get the puck deep. You know, he covers the point. He tries to send it back down the boards. He doesn't get it down the boards. You know, that's a physical mistake more than anything, but it's still a mistake. You know, you rim that around, you shoot that a little higher, a little harder, maybe it gets through. Suddenly there's no transition chance. And then on the same side, you have Drysdale. Drysdale needs to be more aware where the second that puck gets stopped, he needs to be checking to see if anybody's drifting behind him, if anybody's pulling a Michkov and cherry picking a little bit. He clearly didn't have the awareness he needed on that play. That said, he wouldn't have needed the awareness if Sanheim would have gotten the puck through and down low. So it was a play where they were both at fault, and Sanheim's mistake wouldn't have mattered if Drysdale would have backed him up, or at least it would have mattered less. And Drysdale's mistake wouldn't have mattered if Sanheim would have made a better play on the puck. So it's one of those plays where you pin it on both. Honestly, it was a defensive pairing failure.
All right, and the other, really player I want to ask about, Emil Andrae comes back into the lineup tonight. Broadcast very complimentary of his game, but he makes the big mistake on the second Kopitar goal. He kind of just steps up. I don't know if he underestimated the speed or he got caught in between. I don't know what the hell happened, but he ends up defending nobody, and it leads to like a 2-on-1 down low. They tap it in on a far side pass. What did you think of Andrae overall? Do you think it was enough to stay in the lineup? Where do you think this is going in terms of the defensive rotation?
Yeah, I had a lot of people in my mentions acting like it was like the worst game ever from Emil Andrae. I really didn't think he was that bad. I thought he made some plays. I thought he did things with the puck. The one thing that looked rusty, or I don't even know if you want to put it on rust, maybe he was just bad at it in this game, was one-on-one rush coverage. He was struggling in that regard. Earlier on in the game, he got burnt by Hellenius, who's like a fourth liner, and he got bailed out by Kolosov. Kolosov made a big save, so everybody forgets it. But that happened. And then in the third period, he gets burned by Kopitar, and everybody remembers that one because they scored on it. So it wasn't the first time he got burned in transition, in one-on-one rush coverage. Look, the problem with Andrae, and this is always going to be an issue with him, I don't think he's going to get dramatically better in this area, is that he's a smallish defenseman who isn't an elite skater. He's not slow, but he's probably middle of the road. So he doesn't have the reach he can lean on in rush coverage, and he doesn't have the elite recovery speed that like a Sanheim can. So he's going to be a guy who can be exploit it in that area. He has to, let's put it this way, he has just a lesser margin for error. He needs to be better in rush coverage technically than someone like Sanheim or someone like even Drysdale, because Drysdale's an elite skater. He's smallish, but he's an elite skater. They can give up a little bit and still recover. Andrae needs to be closer to perfect to not let that happen. And maybe it was the rust from being out a week. Maybe he just didn't fully have it tonight. But one way or the other, that was a problem in his game. That said, I think he did a lot of other really good things. His underlying metrics at 5-on-5 were really good, aside from that one mistake, or I guess two if you want to talk about the other one that happened earlier in the game. So for me, he should stay in. And these are the kinds of mistakes that you want a guy to work through. Like, I don't think he's going to improve at covering the rush at the NHL level by playing in the AHL against AHLers or even watching up in the press box to watch the speed. I think it's something he just has to do a bunch of times, maybe get burned a few more times, and then get a better understanding of his gaps and just how fast these guys are and how he should react and how he should position himself and whatnot. Like, that should happen at the NHL level. So for me, I wouldn't take him out. I don't think he was terrible. But Tortorella did just bench him for 3 games. So I have no idea what John Tortorella is going to do.
I would hate to see him go right back to the press box after getting back into a game. And on that note, Cam York, you think he's coming back anytime soon, or is Tortorella just got his mystery box of whenever it's going to come back going?
Well, so we talked to Torts before the game, and I tried to push him on it a little bit because he basically just said, you know, maybe he just needs to clear his head, and I kind of pushed, and I said, so is this more of a reset than punitive? And he's just like, well, you guys are trying to make a thing out of it. He's not playing well. He's not playing. Okay, John, cool. But yeah, if it's just a reset, then probably you only want to give him the 1 game. Also, he's one of their better players. So even when he's not playing well, you probably want to get him back in and just hope he can figure it out on the fly. And this is going to go into the story I'm writing on tonight's game. The problem with scratching York, and we talked about it on post-game last night. I didn't have a problem with them scratching York. He had a real bad game last night. He wasn't good in Minnesota. And Tortorella straight up said today he hasn't been all that great since he's come back from the injury. I think he's bottomed out over these last couple games. So, hey, maybe you give him a chance to reset mentally and it fixes it. I get it. The problem is if you pull York out of this lineup, suddenly the rest of the blue line core makes 0 sense in terms of roles and in terms of partners. It's just like you have Sanheim, Drysdale. Okay, so you've got Sanheim's gotten better defensively, but he's not like this big physical defensive guy. You've got Drysdale, who they ideally would want on a third pair. Now you're playing him in at least top 4, if not first pair minutes, and expecting him to hold up against top competition. I don't think he's ready for that. Then you've got Sealer, Risto. Like, yeah, they're going to be physical and defend well down low, but they're not puck movers. So then you got your other top 4 pair, can't move the puck. Then you've got Andrae Zamula as your third pair. Andre's coming off a scratch. Zamula is Zamula. You know, he is what he is. I don't see how any of these pairs on paper are going to work well, and they didn't tonight. Even though York isn't playing well, if you put York back in, suddenly Sanheim has a partner that makes sense. Suddenly you could put Andrae back with Risto, and that pair has worked. Then you can use Drysdale in the third pair sheltered role that he probably should be playing right now as he's trying to improve his game, because his game is very much a work in progress. Then the D pairs make sense. The D pairs tonight don't make sense. And the reason why they didn't is because Cam York was out of the D pairs. And suddenly everyone has to play a spot higher than they should, and it's a mess.
All right, Chuck, before you get to writing that story, let's get to 3 stars. Time for Charlie O'Connor's 3 stars of the game. Kick it off with star number 3.
Yeah, I'll throw this to a Flyer. I'll give this to Tyson Foerster. 3-point game, 2 goals. It's nice to see him back, and it's nice to get some, I wouldn't say confirmation because things can change real quick. 3 days ago, I thought the Flyers were playing really well. Now they're not playing well at all. So things change quick in the NHL, especially when you cover the Philadelphia Flyers. But Tyson Foerster looks like he's turned his season around. I don't know what his end statistics are going to be, but it looks like he is having, at the very least, a solid sophomore season, which we certainly could not have said a month ago when he was one of the team's biggest disappointments. Strong game for him overall. He's been a key cog on that really good third line with Noah Cates and Bobby Brink. For that reason, he's my third star.
Hit us with star number 2.
Yeah, star number 2, I'm going to go with Kevin Fiala. He scores the first goal. He gets the late goal, which, whatever. That's a garbage time goal. Who cares? But I thought he was strong all game. This LA team is interesting because they're not a team that is filled with superstars. Like Anze Kopitar is a Hall of Famer. He's also 37 years old. They are, in a way, kind of like the team that I think the Flyers would like to be, except the Kings haven't won anything either, so like people aren't going to love me saying that, but like the Kings drive play, they come at you in waves, they check well, they have really strong structure. Kevin Fiala is one of the game breakers that they have. He's one of the guys that can make plays out of nowhere. He has that kind of skill and skating ability. He did tonight, 2-goal game.
This is the year, Charlie. They're lined up with Edmonton in the playoffs again. This is the year. 4 times the charm. All right, star number 1.
Yeah, it's the ageless wonder, Anze Kopitar.
Unbelievable.
2 goals. Like, how is this guy still this good? He's 37. It's like him and Giroux, totally different styles, but it's kind of similar where you're just like, how are they still, point per game, near point per game guys? They both are. Kopitar, for a few years, it looked like he was kind of dipping. He's probably just a middle 6 center. He can gracefully age the rest of his career. This year, he's over point per game. He looks great. He's been, star level Anze Kopitar, and he was star level Anze Kopitar tonight. And if you would have told me watching this game that he's 29, I'd have been like, yeah, that tracks. That's about what he looks like. Dude's 37 years old, and he's still killing it. First star of the game. Easy pick, Anze Kopitar.
All right, Charlie, thank you for joining us tonight. Charlie will be with us live for tomorrow's show from the Reading Terminal Market, so make sure you tune in for that. Different start time tomorrow. Is it 3:15, Bryn? Yeah, 3:15. So join us for that. Charlie and I will be there. All right, Chuck, get your story done, and then I'll see you tomorrow.
See you guys.
All right, that was Charlie O'Connor live from the Wells Fargo Center with feel like it took him, I wonder how long. I'm looking forward to watching the Torts press conference, because I assumed he was going to join us like before I got to the first ad reads, and now like we're almost done the show, and it wasn't until he joined us a few minutes ago. I wonder how long that presser was.
I know. I was expecting a very terse, like, time's yours kind of press conference right there. And it doesn't sound like he necessarily wanted to talk too much, but I think he gave him as much as he could tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. We do have some really fun stuff coming up for you. Like I said, tomorrow, special start time, 3:15. We'll be live at the Reading Terminal Market. Make sure you tune in for that. If you're in the area, why not come on out? I'm going to be eating pork sandwiches before we go live. Because why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
It's like my favorite food in the world.
It's the best.
Come on out for that on Monday. That's right. This coming Monday, it's Festivus, baby. That's right. Flyers, Pens. We are going to be at Xfinity Live. The pub at Xfinity is thanks to our friends at Rite Aid. We're going to be doing a pre- and post-game show from Xfinity. You know, the Festivus party is one of our biggest events of the year, all the way back from our BSH days. Now it is PHLY collaboration with BSH. Going to be a great time. Make sure you join us for that starting at 6 o'clock.
I got a lot of problems with you people.
Yeah, we are going to air some grievances, absolutely, giveaways, all that fun stuff. And next Saturday, the Saturday after Christmas, the 28th, come on out. It's Cam York's homecoming game. It's Cutter v. Michkov for the very first time, starting at 4 o'clock, a watch party and live show at Heroes in Glen Mills, PA. That will be a ton of fun as well. $4 Coors Lights drafts. You know how we do our events. They're always a great time. RSVP to all that at allphly.com. Click that events tab. All right, so the thing I wanted to get to with Noah Cates. We're seeing him producing some points. We've seen it in the past. Now, I don't think this is like a long-term solution.
No.
But when I see the power play, as god-awful as it is, and we talked about this some tonight, like they're using Bobby Brink on power play 1, and I like that. He hasn't really showed us much on that power play yet, but of course, nobody has. Michkov already has more power play points than Frost led the team with last year. Like that's where we are with this power play. Frost is not on the top power play unit, and that's kind of why you need Bobby Brink's playmaking there.
What does he do?
They need a center. It's Sean Couturier right now.
What does Morgan Frost do here?
It was the perfect Morgan Frost play because we're in the process of talking crap on him, and he sends that nice assist to Foerster tonight, right after the power play expires. But hear me out on this. We're seeing Noah Cates put up some points. We're seeing him get to the net. He's got some chemistry with Brink. Power play 1C, Noah Cates.
I'll give it a shot, man.
What the hell's the difference? They don't score no matter what.
Who's been the best power play quarterback on this team this year? Emil
I don't know.
Andrae, who's with the Phantoms for like 2 months.
Most of the season. Yeah. It's just something I was thinking about watching the game tonight as we're having that conversation. Like, it needs to be Frost, but since it's not, you have to have, and then it's like, well, who the hell then, centers power play too? Well, that has to be Frost there. You need a center. You need a net front presence. It's been Coots, and I don't want to bump Coots because, like, why not? He's the longest tenured guy. He's the captain. He's had some power play success in the past. But the power play flat out stinks. It's continuing to stink. It's stunk since, like, the opening road trip when they looked okay. Give Noah Cates a shot. This isn't a thing that should be long-term. Like, I don't even mean they should be doing it in February. But it couldn't hurt.
It couldn't hurt. I'll try anything at this point. We have to get our precious baby Matvei Michkov some points, all right?
Yeah, we need to.
We have to set him up for success. And whoever can get to the front of the net, that's the biggest thing. Because Mish needs some traffic, okay? He needs to try his crazy shots from angles that you couldn't even conceive of, and he needs traffic in front of the net to get there.
So, what's the game Saturday? Is that the Monday's the Pittsburgh game? Saturday's
Jackets, I believe.
Saturday is Columbus,
which is a perfect rebound game, guys.
That's the last home game.
Although they did take it to the Devils tonight.
I don't expect Michkov to ever get benched at home.
That would be foolish.
They're going on the road to Pittsburgh. I don't know how. Like, it's his first game and the biggest rival against Crosby. I don't know how you can do that. But then it's the Disney on Ice road trip. They have late starts. They're 3,000 miles away. Unless Mish has some real bounce-back performances in the next game or two, do you think he sits it all on the trip?
I hope not. I hate seeing him
I hope a lot of things, Steve.
He's the one guy that I care about this year, right? He's the last guy I want to see benched at any point. Please don't do this to us, Torty, okay? I mean, I know he might need a break here and there, but maybe... I don't know. You know what? New Year's Eve. Let him enjoy his New Year. Oh, but that's a Celebrini game. I want him to throw it in Celebrini's face.
He needs to punch Celebrini again.
If you're gonna scratch him one time, either make it the Kings game or make it the Knights game. But don't make it the Ducks game, for the love of God. And can't be the Ducks. It can't be the Ducks, and it can't be the Sharks, because I need him to dominate Celebrini in that game. I need it to happen.
Would be nice. All right. Just before we get to Super Chats, one more thing. 14 games after the scratch. Those first 14 games, Mish was back. 7 goals, 17 points, plus 13. Last 4 games. No points, -8. He played 12-20 tonight, and 2.5 of that basically is on the power play. -4 tonight. Again, like, the goalie was not good. He doesn't have the most defensive responsibilities. But -8 over a 4-game stretch, bad.
Not great.
Bad. Yeah. Like, that's objectively bad, no matter how much weight you put into this stat, yes or no. It's not good.
Just crush the Jackets on Saturday, and
first
career
hat trick. We don't have to talk
about any of that. Oh, that'd be nice. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
As long as the hat trick alert doesn't go up there on the score bug.
It worked for Lawton.
Yeah, but that's it.
Yeah.
Well. Yeah. No more. Let's eliminate that.
And I won all 3 against a goalie. I don't want an empty net hat trick.
Yeah. We don't need. No.
Yeah.
I want Mish to get as pure of a hat trick
and as much
possible.
as I am a don't throw your hat for an empty net hat trick guy, Mish is first. I'd probably do it though.
Yeah. Are you booking it? Yeah.
Let's see.
The Columbus Blue
Stay
Jackets?
in the lineup.
Merzlikins, yeah.
All right. Let's hit those super chats. All right. Only 2 tonight. You know what? Before we get to the super chats, I want to thank the TV audience. We appreciate everybody watching on Roku, on Samsung, on Xfinity very much. Love you guys for watching us on TV. Head over to allphly.com for more of the show, and more of the show is going to be wrapping up with these super chats. JH, has anyone seen Cal Peterson lately? Yeah, that's the one I saw. That was before we even went live. He was waiting. He paid to ask that question before we even went live.
You're a hero, JH. I don't like to think about that name. That is a triggering name for me.
Listen, I know it's weird because we don't really see like a path for the future of Fedotov, but like we have project goalies in. Cal Peterson is a $5 million cap dump veteran who we're just waiting for his contract to expire. Kolosov was not good tonight. He made some big saves, but ultimately he let the team down. Charlie, absolutely right. That goal lost them the game.
It was a backbreaker. 100%.
Lost them the game. You deal with that with a developing goaltender. If they're going to give up 7 in a game, I want it to be because Kolosov is learning, not because Cal Peterson flat out stinks.
Agreed. Agreed. I don't want any part of Cal Peterson. He can just enjoy whatever the specialty food is in Allentown, and that's it. I never want to see him in a Flyers uniform again. Sorry, bud. You're just not an NHL goaltender. I don't even know if you're an AHL goaltender.
I hope he's tipping well at Brew Daddy's across the street from the stadium.
Tip your bartenders.
And finally, the second one here from Adam S. Bring back Paul Holmgren for GM. We have about 40 minutes until the roster freeze. You think maybe Alex Turcotte, this was his audition game?
Well, if Paul Holmgren was the one in question, he'd have his sights set on something bigger and crazier. Yeah. He'd be looking at like Aleksei Kolosov.
Yeah, how do we get it? They're trying to win a cup. Can we get him? No? All right. Who else you got?
Like, can I get Ovechkin right now?
We'd like to see him break the goal record in Philly.
I want, Turcotte, didn't you mention Quentin Byfield? He scored a goal tonight.
He did. He was snake bitten.
I can't see them giving him up though.
No, he was snake bitten a lot of the game, but he got the empty netter tonight. So
I would love to get some more high-end talent.
Paul Holmgren, the first half of his tenure.
Oh, unbelievable!
I will never say it was anything but a resounding success.
Timonen, Hartnell. Just like there were so many great moves. Ville Leno,
Pronger. I mean, yeah, man, found Leno. Like the second half, however. Although I was looking for something today because I saw Justin Schultz retired. And I was like, I was writing for Bleacher Report. It was like maybe my second season writing for Bleacher Report when I first started doing hockey stuff. And I know I badly wanted him. That was like a big deal to try to sign him.
He was a big deal for a lot of people at that time. Yeah.
And I found a bunch
of youngsters.
I found a bunch of my 2012 articles from Bleacher Report. I loved the JVR for Shen trade. So
you were the guy.
It was me. All right. One gets in under the wire here. It's my boy Socrates Johnson. Dude, it's under Socrates. No words coming from Disney World. Don't watch the Flyers on vacation, guys. Please. We are stuck with this ridiculous hockey team 364 days. You miss a game. I'm begging you. And I am so happy you joined us from Disney World. Appreciative of your audience.
Go get some cold ones from around the world in Epcot.
Yeah, Come on. Get drunk at Epcot. Spend all your money at Epcot like I did on senior trip.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, first day, Epcot. I was like, ooh, Mom, I'm out of money.
You can take a vacation from the Flyers, okay?
All right, yeah, please.
In fact, I encourage
we all need it. Honestly, Cam York, good for you tonight, bro.
Oh, yeah.
That is all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers Postgame, presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Make sure you're following us right here on the YouTube. Hit that reminder bell. Different start time tomorrow, 3:15. We're live from the Reading Terminal Market, so hang out for that. Follow us on Twitter at PHLY_Flyers. Follow the podcast as well. Wherever you get those, just search PHLY Flyers. That'll do it for us. My name is Bill Matz. That is Flyperbole himself, Steve Jaco. Make sure you're following Flyperbole, too. Great show. Let's go Flyers.
We all silly like the mayor.